Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is another episode of Ask Brian and Carol, the monthly ABC call. And we're doing this the whole month of April, and then the first week of May, and then every first week of the month from here going forward. We're going to answer your questions live on the air. So if you have a question for us, just go ahead and email us at Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at childcaregenius.com. Whatever you're struggling with, give us the question, allow us to answer it live on the air. And we will not tell people your name or where you're from. We're going to keep it anonymous so you can feel free to be candid in whatever area you are struggling in. If you haven't ordered my book yet, Childcare Multi-Millionaire, it is free, and I'll even pay for shipping. Go to our website at childcaregenius.com and go to the books tab, and you can get it free there. Just give us your information. Anywhere in the United States, I'll ship it free and pay for the shipping myself. So grab that book. It'll help you make millions. All right, today's question comes from a listener. I know it's in the Midwest. It says, what steps can owners take to increase profitability without cutting quality or cutting staff pay? That's a great question. We get that a lot where people want to increase the profitability, but they figure they have to do that at the expense of their employees, right, or quality. Like there's a hard balance between. So we've got together and we put down some steps here that'll help you today increase your profitability without having to cut quality or cut staff pay. So get ready, take some notes, pay attention. We're going to talk about, first thing is raising rates. You know, that seems like the obvious one, but it also seems like one of the hard ones that we deal with owners. Sometimes they're afraid to raise rates, right?
Absolutely, because they think when their kids were little, you know, they had to pay for childcare and how hard it was when the rates went up. But you have to remember that your costs are going up and you have to raise rates.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you have to kind of separate the emotional part of childcare from the business part of the childcare. And you have a business to run. You know, your grocery price is going up, eggs are going up, milk goes up, everything goes up annually, right? That's what inflation does. It causes things to go up annually. Well, you have to keep your tuition up with inflation as well, because you have to keep your staff pay up with inflation. You've got to pay your vendors. Your rent goes up every year, right? If you're an owner, if you're renting rather, then that's going to go up every single year. The only way to guarantee your rent doesn't go up is to own your building.
Right.
But property taxes will go up, insurance will go up. So there's a lot of costs you're going to be increasing every single year. You got to pass that on. And the best way to do it is tuition rate strategically and transparently. You got to let parents know why you're raising the rates and what that money's going for. I know we send a letter out every year that says we're raising our rates and this is where it's going. And we say it's 100% to staff pay increases, which is the truth. We're using the tuition increase to increase staff pay. That is probably the best way to do it. And raising rates between 3 and 10% annually is not out of the question. Crazy, especially if you're below market. If you're right at where the market is, then 3% is probably norm. But if you're way below market, you can get up to 10% annually.
Right. And if you're full with a wait list, you can do a higher increase.
Right. And if you want to know what percentage to increase, you're not really sure, get on a free coaching call with somebody on our team, childcaregenius.com. Under the coaching tab, you can say, give me a free coaching call and let us coach you on how to get that out to the parents and also what number is your magic number to increase. There's a sweet spot. And it's, you know what I don't like is across the board tuition increases.
Mhm.
Like 3% across the board, no matter what age group. I think each age group has to stand on its own with a tuition increase. If you have an infant wait list a mile long, you can go a little heavier on your tuition increase, because if somebody leaves, you just replace them with somebody who's willing to pay the higher amount. It sounds cold, but business is business. Infants don't make much money.
Right.
Let's face it. And if you can get more money out of them, it helps make it a little more profitable or not such a money loss. Especially if you can get a family in that's got a sibling, it's a bonus. So I would look at each age group, look at your wait list, look at your availability. If you've got a lot of preschool openings, you might not want to raise rates at all. We did that one year. Well, we didn't even raise preschool rates because we were hurting for preschoolers, and we did not want to scare anybody off. But we raised a little higher on the infants and toddlers because we had supply and demand. We had waiting lists in those age groups. All right, so the next one is to maximize enrollment and aim for ideal occupancy. This is so important in childcare. It is so much more profitable to have a classroom at 90% full. It's between 80 and 100, but I like to say the word 90. If you can get a classroom to 90% full, especially a preschool classroom, that is the most maximum profitability, between 90 and 100%, that you're going to make more profits in that one room than by having two rooms that are half full.
Right.
Because you only have one teacher, whatever your max ratio is. So any other thing why it's important?
It's a lot of times your teachers push back. They're like, well, if you put 10 kids in this room, it's going to be too hard. 7 is ideal for me, but it's a business. And if they can't handle 10 in a classroom, maybe you need a different teacher.
Yeah, I know in Maine, it's like a toddler, it's 1 to 5, right? But in Texas, it's 1 to 11. And the teachers I see handling 11 kids without any problems in Texas, and I've seen people struggle with 5 kids in Maine. So it's the teacher, and you need to hire teachers that can handle the max. If your state has determined what the max ratios are, that is the max you need to put. If you're running lower than state ratios, you have an extra teacher in a room or a sub to help the teachers out, you're not getting max profitability, and you're not able to pay your staff more, because now you're diluting the pie. There's only so much pie to pay the staff. And if you dilute that pie with extra teachers, that's less money for the other ones. Oh, you could ask your teachers, would you rather make more money and work on your own, or make less money and have help? I think they'd all the times will do it, and give them the tools that they need. Maybe have one floater that goes around and helps everybody. But we once went in New York to a center, and they had an extra teacher in each classroom. And he was wondering why he wasn't making much money. So we helped them reformulate that. I think we had 2 floaters around the building that would give the teachers a little bit of a break here and there. And it changed. Their profitability went up 15%. So keep that in mind as you go. If you can maximize classroom, especially preschoolers, get those rooms full, combine whatever you got, that you're going to make the most profitability without sacrificing quality. There's really no difference between 8 kids in a classroom and 10 kids in a classroom if you have a good teacher. There really isn't. Kids are going to learn just as much. They're going to play just as much. They'll have more friends to play with, and it's not a problem. All right. So implement or strengthen a parent referral program. Why is a referral program important?
Because if you have happy parents, you want them to tell other people that they know about how wonderful your center is. So word of mouth is like the best, because it's not coming from you. You're not saying we're wonderful. You have somebody else saying you're wonderful.
Exactly. And it costs a lot of money through marketing, through Google ads, through Facebook. It costs you a lot of money to market to a customer. If you get a referral from a person, from a parent, you're bypassing what cost you hundreds of dollars to get somebody in. Why not give them some of that money as a thank you? It can cost $1,000 to get a new family in. Of course, you're going to make $30,000 to $100,000 off them in your lifetime. But to get a parent referral, that's gold. To pay them $200 or $300 or give them a free week, whatever you do. I like to give cash, but whatever you do, always compensate a person, give them some kind of reward. All right, so add value added programs or services. You could add a music program, you could add a piano, you could add karate, soccer. I've seen just about everything as a value add where you could charge the parents extra for them to come in and do music lessons or art.
Yeah.
Any other ones you think of?
No.
I've seen soccer camp, like I said, music camp, art camp, karate. And these are good good ways to make extra money.
Yeah.
You could also monetize your facility during off hours. Churches could rent your space on a weekend. You could do birthday parties, events.
Yeah. There was one person who rented it to Cub Scouts for meetings. Anybody who has a regular meeting is good because then it's a regular every week or every month thing.
You could do mommy's groups.
Yeah.
We could play in your playground. We have one client who has this amazing indoor playground. They rent that out for birthday parties, like going to McDonald's play places, except hers is way cooler. There's lots of things you could do to help make revenue on the weekends or at night. When your business is not operating, you could rent it out to somebody else, but make sure you check your lease to make sure you can sublet. Because you'll need to do that, and your insurance needs to know as well.
Right.
Because if somebody gets hurt, then you need a coverage. All right, so you need to pursue grants, subsidies, and government funding. All right, if you say, "Oh, I only take cash, I don't want to deal with the government funding," well, I think you're missing out. You're not maximizing profitability. If most states, you could charge the difference between what your rate is, what the government is, and if you don't, if you can't do that, then it changes the conversation. If the rates are too far out of the norm. But most states have rates that are similar reimbursement to what the parents actually charge. And grants, there's a lot of states that offer grants even to for-profit businesses, and you're missing out if you're not going and getting them.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people learned about grants during COVID, and a lot of states gave them, but they're not usually that easy. You have to apply for them, and they don't go to everybody, but they can really help. They can be for certain things, like for outdoor play equipment or for certain things in your classroom.
Absolutely. Another way to increase profitability is to use technology and automation. Technology saves a lot of time, effort, energy, and office costs. Today's like QuickBooks automates everything. So it most eliminates the need to have a bookkeeper. You could do things yourself. You could automate bill pay. You could automate collection. You could automate tuition payments, ACH, auto draw. Like you don't need a bookkeeper to handle all that. There's very little that's not on auto pay. We do all our own bookkeeping, all our own payroll. We have 3 companies, and we've always done it. And it's only a couple hours a month for us to run, a $6 million company.
People that have payroll companies, they gather all the information and send it to their payroll company, where it would take just as much time to gather the information and put it into QuickBooks.
Yeah, and run yourself. QuickBooks pays the taxes. So it's in my book, Child Care Multimillionaire. I write in there about getting rid of your bookkeeper and doing it yourself for 6 months, so you know where the money goes. It's very important. All right, that's a whole different conversation.
Right.
Improve staff retention to increase profitability. It costs a lot to turn staff over.
Yeah, you got to look at your staff culture. If you have a lot of turnover, there's somebody who's in your staff that's poisoning it.
Yep.
And hopefully it's not you.
Could be you. All right, the next one is to reduce waste and negotiate better vendor deals. So each year you need to check your vendor deals to make sure that if you have a lease for a copy machine, if you got a lease for a van, if you have a like your technology, your parent communication app, reshop those deals every year or 2.
Yeah.
And see if you can get a better deal somewhere. And maybe they'll match the price.
Right. Yeah, we've actually had people do that. They say, I'm going to change companies because I'm getting this deal, and they'll match it.
And insurance. Everything you're spending money on, you can renegotiate. The only thing you can't is probably electric bill, your heating energy.
Only.
Yeah, I'm kidding. That would be great. Reduce waste. We probably waste a lot of paper not having technology. So that's a good thing to do, is to increase your technology so you have less paper. That's waste, save money as well. There's so many different ways you can increase revenue. Another one is to introduce smart fees. Make sure you're collecting all late fees. Make sure you have like a technology fee, a curriculum fee, and different fees that allows you to recoup some of your cost. An art fee. We've seen everything from technology fee to an annual program fee to a re-registration fee. If you're not collecting these, you're kind of missing out.
Yeah.
Things you could think of?
No, not off the top of my head.
All right. So last thing is care. If you only do full-time care, you're missing out. You're not maintaining profitability, because even if you have all full-time kids in your program, there are days and times where those full-time kids don't come.
Yeah.
So you're creating holes, and those holes could be filled with part-time children. So if you have a full-time parent only comes Monday through Thursday, and you have another one that comes just Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even though that's full-time for us, 30 hours is full-time. So you have different holes created in the schedule. Use part-time children or drop-in children to offset those, fill those gaps, and make money, extra money. Imagine making more than 100% tuition for a childcare spot. That's what we're talking about here. Everybody should have part-time care. Different economies desire different things as far as full-time, part-time. But right now is the time to have full, part-time, drop-in, whatever it takes if you want to increase profitability.
We've got drop-in kids with parents, stay-at-home moms, that they just want their kids to socialize. So every week they call to see if you have a day available that they can come.
Yeah, where you don't have to have another teacher on.
Right.
If you've got a gap on one, kid's out sick today, throw a drop-in kid in there. Our drop-in policy is cash only when you drop off. We have a minimum 4 hours, and it just fills a spot, it fills a void. And the last thing we're going to talk about today is overstaffing. This is the biggest sucking chest wound of childcare. And we see it all the time, where people have, in the first 2 hours of the day or the last 2 hours of the day, they bring all these teachers in at the minute the place opens, and they're all sitting around doing nothing for the first hour, waiting for kids to come in. Or the opposite on the backside, where kids are leaving and then all the teachers sit around doing nothing for the last hour of the day. You need to stage people in, stage people out, work as a routine, and get to know when you have the need for staff to get there.
Right.
What do you have as far as, I know we have an overstaff to-do list. What is that?
We have a list of about 50 to 100 things that the directors make. Anything that you can do in 10 to 15 minutes while you're waiting for children to show up. If you have 2 teachers in a classroom and you have 2 kids that haven't shown up yet, have the other teacher do one of those things on the list while they're waiting.
Yes, we do this religiously. We keep adding things to the list. It could be something as simple as just wiping down the baseboards in your room, something that always get forgotten. Right. You could clean some toys. You don't need a maintenance crew. You've got teachers who can clean stuff. It's not above. They change diapers. It's not beneath them to mop a floor. They change diapers for a living.
Right. And we do our own cooking, so they can start getting the meal prepared, or they can get something chopped for the next day or something like that.
Absolutely. So having that list, don't make overstaffing for that. Use the gaps in staffing to fill those holes instead of having extra floaters laying around to normally get that kind of work done. So we hope we've helped you today. If you still have any questions, or is that something else you're going to answer, email me directly, brian@childcaregenius.com. I respond to all emails personally, and I will give you a solution to help you through your problem. Or if you just want to ask a question on the air for a future episode, go ahead and do that as well. All right, this concludes this episode of the Child Care Genius podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend some time with us.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Child Care Genius podcast. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Child Care Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, Thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.